Hello, welcome back to my Oracle deck collection video series. This is part 2 of 4, and I've got some more lovely Oracle decks to show you today. When I started organising to film these Oracle deck collection videos, I realised I actually have a few more Oracle decks than I do tarot decks, which is funny because I do read tarot much more than I do Oracle, but with each system being so different with Oracle decks, it's always tempting to just try another one out. And of the ones I have, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them all, but certainly I'm still working with some and deciding whether they're for me or not. This is my very first Oracle deck. This is the Gaia Oracle by Tony Carmine Salerno. And Tony Carmine Salerno has created a lot of different decks. This is the only one I have at the moment, and they're published by Blue Angel. So I know some people have trimmed this deck, and it would be an easy trim job to do, but I haven't trimmed it yet. And that's the back, which, even though it is not symmetrical, I do quite like because it's a lovely image. And this is a deck which I feel is best used for a one-card draw and not very often, because the messages are really big. They seem to be about kind of big shifts happening in your life, big phases that you could be going through. And when I've tried to pull cards from this deck daily or even weekly, it's been sort of too much information coming too quickly, whereas a card really does seem to have a message that can last for longer. There's a mixture of images of women, some of them nude, and lots of images of trees, some images of moons. So some of the images in it are kind of similar to each other, and then you have the odd rather different image like this one of Ganesha, which there aren't a lot of divine figures represented in this deck, so that's a wee bit of an unusual one here. And I know from looking at flip-throughs of other Tony Carmine Salerno decks that some of the images are used in other decks as well. The guidebook is really where a lot of the meaning associated with the cards comes in, and you have sort of a little key sentence, a short description, and affirmations to go with each deck, each card. So as I say, this was my very first Oracle deck, and I would tend to pull maybe one card for a month ahead from that deck. This is a more recent purchase. You can't really, there, the light's caught it now. This is the Earth Wisdom Oracle. So the artwork is by Christina Scagliotti, and the book is by Barbara Moore. There is a tarot deck just out, which it's not called the Earth Wisdom Tarot. It's maybe the Celtic Universal Tarot, something like that, but with the artwork by Christina Scagliotti as well. Which I haven't got because there's dragons and things in it, which aren't really my cup of tea. This has a lovely reversible back and it's a nice little ribbon. It's not a big Oracle deck. It's a bit smaller than some. I have edged it in that dark green, with a dark green Sharpie, which has set it off quite nicely. It's a sort of quite a shiny, as you can see, flexible cardstock. The reason I bought this deck actually is, being Irish, it's surprising how few decks there are that actually depict Irish landscapes. I mean, there's a lot of kind of Druid-based Celtic decks, but obviously Celtic is broader than just Ireland. But and this deck is as well. But there was a lot that I recognised when I looked at the art in terms of sort of some of the symbols used, and the art is just gorgeous. And this is the one that sold it for me, because this is the Giant's Causeway, which is in Northern Ireland in County Antrim and not very far from here. So that was kind of a unique feature for this deck. So I really wanted to get it then when I saw this. But the art is beautiful. And there aren't really real landscapes. They're sort of mythical, imaginary landscapes. And it is lovely. It's not as... It looks like it could be quite a softly gentle deck to work with, and it isn't really. It's quite can be quite hard hitting to read the messages. This is the little guidebook, and again it's not super thick, and then it does have a number of languages in it. So like that's the English language section, so 38 pages. For each card you've got a flower or a plant, a herb associated with the card, and you have a stone, and then there's a little paragraph about the card's meaning and a little quote of a sort of affirmation for each card. So even though it is short, it packs a lot in for less than a page of information per card. And I have actually found it quite nice to work with, and maybe pulling out the stone that has been suggested for the card and having it to hand maybe while I've got the card out on display or something has been quite a nice way to work with that deck. So that is the Earth Wisdom Oracle. As you can see, where I keep a lot of my tarot decks in bags, my oracle decks are all just in the boxes they came in, because they all seem to come in these little really sturdy boxes. This is a lovely deck. This is the Queen of the Moon Oracle by Stacey DeMarco, and it's published by Rockpool, and the art is by Kinga Britsky. I've probably mispronounced her name, but there it is there. And I really like the backs on this deck. They're not reversible, but they're symmetrical. And I have edged this deck in a gold Sharpie to match the gold on the back. And I just bought this because the art is so lovely. So each card, they kind of have they're in two groups. So you have the phases of the moon. So there we have waxing crescent 1, waxing crescent 4. And each phase of the moon has a keyword associated with it. Look at that. Nourishment, beautiful. Dark moon, the void. Waxing crescent, acceptance. Waxing crescent, the path. Waning gibbous, wisdom. Waning crescent, peace. And then you also have, it sort of looks at the different moons of the year of the calendar, and there's a card for each of those. So there's worm moon, beaver moon, and I know the names for moons vary from different country to country and so on, but so flower moon, hunter moon, and so on. There is a kind of a unusual one. There's the Queen of the Moon, which doesn't fit in with that. And then there's a masculine card, which is a bit jarring because the rest of the images are also feminine. And it comes with this little guidebook by Stacey DeMarco, which is in colour. So you've got a description of the card, a little affirmation, and a write-up and a recommendation of a stone that would work with that card. So it's a nice deck that could be worked with for random card pulls, or you could pull out the card that's associated with the particular moon of that month, or with the phase of the moon, or if you were maybe doing spellcraft on a particular moon phase, it might be a nice card to work with, to sort of intentionally choose a card from that deck. And I think it's the only moon-based deck that I have. This is another really nice oracle deck by Denise Lynn, the Sacred Destiny Oracle, and it's published by Hay House. I did try to find, the only artist name that's listed is this Scott Bredenthal, so I'm not sure if he's the designer of the art in this deck. So the backs are quite pretty, not reversible or anything, but a nice design, nice colours. And the cards are really simple. I used this deck for my year ahead spread for 2020. I pulled one card for each month alongside a tarot card, and it's actually been quite interesting, the cards that have come up. And I've been displaying the card that came up for that month during the month, as I've been going through the year. So you can see there's a keyword on each card, and really lovely, really lovely art for each card. But when you look into the book, there's more than just the keyword associated with the image. There's a landscape as well intended. So if you look, for example, there, blessings, the landscape associated with that is Holy Spring. They are arranged in alphabetical order in the book, which makes them fairly easy to find, even though they're not numbered. So then each sacred landscape, then there's a description of it and a message the sacred landscape wants you to know. But I've also found, even without looking at the book, although obviously it's worth reading what Denise Lynn has to say about the cards, even without looking at the book, that's lovely. Like this really simple image, and sort of the cleanness and the space created by the white borders just somehow really works with those really clear keywords. So that is a really nice deck, and one I have really only started working with because I got it at Christmas, just past there. This one is another Stacey DeMarco deck, and this is called the Earth Power Oracle, and also published by Blue Angel. Kind of an unusual deck. I got this in just a little shop. Sometimes when I'm in one of those shops that sells, crystals and decks and so on, I want to buy something just to support the shop and keep them open. And I look sometimes for unusual decks that I don't have yet, and this one sort of stood out in one shop that I was in, because I'd never seen anything like this. And it is a strange one to use for readings. So I have put here on top just some of the places that I've actually been to. So there's the temples in Malta, the temple in Delphi, Angkor Wat. So you can see each card represents a place that actually exists on Earth, that's a sacred site, and then they're quite a mixture, as you can see, with the Statue of Liberty in there, and there's a couple nice wee touch. There's my favorite place. So I have a place that I associate with this card, and it doesn't change. It's a particular place in County Donegal in Ireland that I associate with this. And then there's fairy circles, which is a bit more, open. Lots of different places would count for that. And then my backyard is also created as a powerful place. And yes, and then there's loads of places that I have not been and would love to go. That are included in this. And the guidebook doesn't really give you like a divinatory meaning associated with the card. So there's a card from Mecca, for example. So it tells you a little bit of an affirmation or message associated for that card, which is on the card as well. There's some sort of key energy associated with that place. Then it tells you where it is, associates an element with it, and then it describes the place and what actually people do at that place, how that place is venerated within the culture that it comes from, how to behave if you go to that place, what kinds of things you might experience, and what you might see if you went to the place. And it's So yeah, it's almost like if you wanted to travel to these sacred places, a wee bit of a guide as to help you choose one to go to. Or I guess work with the energy of that place, even if you're not able to travel to that place, because it's only a very privileged few who have the money and the time and the resources to visit all of these amazing places. So it's a nice deck, and I have found, funnily enough, that my favorite place card has come up for me more than anything else when I've worked with that deck. This little deck I haven't really used very much yet, and I'll explain why in a minute. So it's listed as being, here it's by Alana Fairchild as the writer of the deck. I know she's created a lot of decks, although I don't have any others by her. But the reason I bought this deck is because the art is by Lindy Longhurst. Lindy Longhurst is an Australian artist that I came across at the Monday markets in Queensland, and I have one of her prints framed upstairs in my house, and I really, really love her art. It has a really lovely, whimsical, colourful quality. And when I saw she had done the art for this deck, I straight away purchased it without even looking at any other information. And if you follow Lindy Longhurst on social media, she is currently working on a tarot deck. I think the last time I commented and got a reply from her, she's still like 50 cards or more than 50 cards to do. So it's going to be a few years in the making before she's finished it. But her interpretation of the tarot in this lovely whimsical style is really interesting too. So definitely check out Lindy Longhurst online if you like the look of this deck. So this is the Wings of Wisdom deck, and every single card is a winged creature. Most of them are birds, but not all, as you can see, flying fish. And there is a little guidebook that goes with it, which is a little staple book. This is a Blue Angel published deck. I haven't seen Blue Angel bring out a deck book like this before. It's on a kind of a yellow, not a yellowy, but like it's more of a matte paper, and it's just black and white and stapled. There's quite a lot, as you can see, for each card, so I'm trying to pull that back enough so you can see. So there for Dove, you've got, over a page, dragon, over a page, dragonfly. So it's a page and a bit for each one, and they're arranged in alphabetical order. So Alana Fairchild's write-up about each card is in the book. But on the cards, you can see there's quite a lot going on. You have the art, you have the winged creature, you have 3 keywords or terms and an affirmation all on the front. And then you have on the back this write-up, which is different from what's in the book. Not conflicting, just additional. I don't know. I just can't. It's too much. There's too much happening. But I adore the art. I love the pictures. And the messages associated with the cards are nice. I just am put off working with it because of the shape. They're very long. So there's, they're much longer and kind of narrow and long compared to, another oracle deck might be about this size. I've looked at trimming it. The problem is the pictures, as you can see, are not all the same size. So they're not all oriented exactly the same on the card. So if you're going to trim it, you can't trim it down to just the art because the art's all different sizes. And then because the art is slightly different sizes, then the placement of the keywords is slightly different. And then if you were going to trim it, you would have to back it as well because of the write-up on the back. So I haven't totally decided what I'm going to do with this, if I'm just going to leave it as it is, if I'm going to try to work out a way to modify it. It is just lovely. And it would be a lovely affirmation. It's a nice positive deck in terms of the meanings. It doesn't have like a huge amount of light and shade. It is more of a positive deck. But if you had a younger person who was interested in trying out an oracle deck for the first time, it might be a nice deck for a younger person to use. It's a mass market deck. It is easy to get and not overly expensive. So maybe I should have a go at modifying it and see how it turns out, because it is replaceable if I make a complete mess of it. Yeah, so that's the Wings of Wisdom Oracle from Alana Fairchild and Lindy Longhurst. So that's the second in my Oracle deck collection series. So 2 more videos to come. So if you want to hit the subscribe button, then you'll get the wee notification when that's been posted. Thank you so much for watching, and I would love to hear your opinions about these decks. And if you have modified or seen anyone else modifying Wings of Wisdom, I would especially love to hear what you did, or the recommendation of modification videos to check out, and see how that might have turned out. All right, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.